Hello, my dear students. This is Shorkat Taslim Afroz, lecturer, Department of English. Dear students, I welcome you all to my online class. Dear students, this proverb is known to us. Practice makes a man perfect. But I strongly believe that proper practice makes a man perfect. So, as a students, of course, you have to do practice a lot when you are learning English as your second language or you are learning English for your academic purpose. So, of course, you have to practice a lot and remember the proper way. Well, dear students, as you can see that I have already mentioned the topics, our today's topics, that is rearrangement. Dear students, this topic is very interesting and you people love to exercise this one. Well, dear students, as a teacher, I always love to say my students that when you are learning new topics or you are learning anything, of course, try to learn the basic, the overview. So, dear students, in my today's lecture, I will talk about the entire topic rearrangement and the basic information I will provide to you about this topic rearrangement. Dear students, remember this topic is very tricky. You need to practice. At the same time, you have to know the criteria, the do's, how to solve this, and I will tell you why this topic is important for you. Well, dear students, you will find this type of question, this type of rearrangement in your English first paper, and the total mark is 8. You have to practice this rearrangement not to obtain good marks in the examination. At the same time, by practicing this one, you will be able to reassemble the jumbled sentences, words, and different type of ideas. So, by this way, you will be able to show your creative genius, your talent. So, it will help you to construct a sentence, new ideas, new thought and opinion at the same time. So, dear students, when you are practicing this topic, rearrangement, of course, you have to follow some basic rules, which is very important. Usually, you students never follow this type of rules, but if you follow this type of rules, that you will be able to obtain a good marks, and as I said, that you will be able to show your expertise in English language. So, my dear students, now let's start. Rearrangement. The definition is very important, as you can see on the board that sentence rearrangement consists of group of jumbled sentences. I repeat, group of jumbled sentences that need to be rearranged to make sense. So, when you are doing rearrangement, be careful. You will find there 8 sentences in a question. So, you have to rearrange them, and of course, you have to give a meaning, a sense. So, this is called rearrangement. Next come the classification of rearrangement. In English language, in English grammar, in English first paper, you will find basically 2 types of, I repeat, 2 types of rearrangement. First one is famous personality. Maybe in your question paper, you will find an idea about a famous personality or historical event. Any historical event. To complete this topic rearrangement, you have to read a lot. A habit of reading can help you in this regard. So, dear students, when you will get time, please make sure that you are reading something new, maybe a story, a novel, journals, magazine, or newspaper. Then this topic will be very easy very clear to you? Well, now come to the point, the classification. First one, as I have already mentioned, the famous personality or historical event. Or you will find an educative story or an abstract idea, abstract event. So in English language, there are two types of rearrangement. Well, dear students, now comes what are the do's? Actually, the top do's. Remember, as I said, this topic is very tricky. So, you have to practice, you have to follow the single rules of this topic. First of all, you have to read the entire sentences, the 8 sentences, one, twice, or more to find out the subject. To find out the subject, then you have to read the passage, you have to find out the keyword, and remember coherence is very important because it will bring a meaning, it will give a sense. Read selectively. I repeat, read selectively. Then a transition is very important at the same time because a keyword can help you to switch one sentence to another sentence. So dear students, I will show you a sample question where I will show you how to complete a rearrangement. So the do's I repeat for you. First one, you have to read the 8 sentences one, twice, or more. Then you have to make sure that the coherence is important. You have to read selectively. You have to search for transition words or keywords and rearrange them. And finally, after finding out all the sentences, maintaining coherence, you have to confirm a box. That means you have to make a box where in first row you have to write the serial number, and after that you have to write the sentences serially. After that, after completing the box, you have to write the passage, the whole passage as a paragraph. And remember, you are not permitted here to write a single sentence or any sentence singly. So you have to write the passage, the sentences as a paragraph. So, my dear students, I am sure everything is very clear to you, as I have already mentioned in my discussion that what do you mean by rearrangement, what are the classification, and what are the do's, and most important thing that why rearrangement is important for a student. Now, dear student, let's turn to the board to see a sample question. Here I have already prepared a sample question for you. You will find this type of question in your first paper, as I said. Remember the do's. Don't forget the do's, which are very important for you. At first, when you will find this type of question, at first you have to read the sentences one, twice, or more to find out the subject. That means relevant subject. As I have already mentioned, there you will find two types of rearrangement: famous personality or educative story. So at first you have to find out the subject, then you have to maintain the coherence. Well, dear students, now I will read the sentences for you, and after that I will show you how to complete a rearrangement. Well, first one, A. Here you can see I have mentioned 8 sentences. First one is, he passed his boyhood with his parents. This one cannot be the first subject. How to find out this one? Well, let's see. He was never absent from school up to the age of 12. So, dear students, number C, here you can see penicillin. Penicillin is a life-saving medicine. Here you will find penicillin, life-saving medicine. It is the keyword of this sentence. Well, next, he was the seventh of the 8 brothers and sisters. Well, number E, it was discovered by Dr. Alexander Fleming. So here is a link between these two sentences. So these two sentences can be the subject, but you have to find out the appropriate one. So I will underline this one, Dr. Alexander Fleming. Next, F, he was sent to London at the age of 14. Next, G, Fleming was born into a poor family in Scotland. So, when we are talking about Alexander, before that it comes penicillin, and after that it comes, you can see, Fleming was born into a poor family in Scotland. So, these three are interrelated. Next one is, Fleming was a very regular and attentive student. So dear students, you can see I have already found my subject, my keyword. So I will prepare this one. First one is, penicillin is a life-saving medicine. So dear students, before I show you the answer, I just want to make sure that, of course, after preparing this 8 sentence, that means after rearrange the sentences, at first you have to make sure a box, and there you have to write 8 column and 2 row. In first row you have to mention the serial number, and after that you have to confirm the jumble word. You have to rearrange the sentences, and after completing this box in your examination, in your answer script, you have to write the whole sentences, the entire sentences as a paragraph. You are not permitted here to write a single sentences, that means individual sentence. So after making this box, you have to write the story as a paragraph. Well, dear students, I'm sure now it's very clear to you. Now, let's turn to the answer. First one, C. Penicillin is a life-saving medicine. Next, I have chosen here E. It was discovered by Dr. Alexander Fleming. And last number 3, G, is Fleming was born into a poor family in Scotland. Related, as I have already mentioned this one. Number 4, you can see he was the 7th of 8 brothers and sisters. So, poor family related to brother and sisters. Brother and sister. So, you have to find out this one. Next one is number 5. You have to find, you can see that this one is related here. He passed his boyhood. He passed his boyhood with his parents. So all these things are related, and this topic is, you can see, this topic is about famous personality or historical event. You will find educative story or abstract idea. Well, number 6, Fleming was a very regular and attentive student. So this one is also related of we are talking about his boyhood, his education. So number 7, B, he was never absent from school up to the age of 12. So up to the age of 12, he was never absent. This one is also a quality. So we are talking about his quality. Next one is, last one especially, he was sent to London at the age of 14. I hope you understand for what? For education purpose, for higher education. So dear student, this is how you have to complete a rearrangement in your answer script. And remember, of course, you have to make a box. After that, you have to write the entire story, whole story as a paragraph. Now, dear students, I'm sure this topic rearrangement is very clear to you and you will be able to answer this question, and of course you will obtain good marks, that means 8 marks in the examination. Now, as I said in my discussion, that proper practice makes a man perfect. So, of course, you have to practice a lot to obtain a good marks. Keep practicing and see you later in my next class.